Ni kweli, sometimes it is in the thought actually. Only the full over the sun diminishes the shadow. In this reflection, I urge all of us to keep up the pace and renew our commitments, regardless of the immense heat of the full overhead sun and these forces. And we keep committed to the spirit and ideals that forth by the AUC in order to keep up the fight against corruption. Indeed, together we can build a future where corruption is effectively addressed and the fruits of development are immediately shared amongst the African nations. Kwa hayo machache, ningependa kuwashukuru, ningependa kuwapa kwa niaba ya mratibu wetu mkuu Bwana Thomas Nelson na mkurugenzi mkuu Bwana Gordon Hivick na the entire JSM team, ningependa kuwaombea masiku mema. Na kwa hayo machache, nikubali nipatie Bwana Makazi microphone hii ili aweze kukaribisha rafiki yetu kutoka South Africa, Wadadisi Human Rights.
Welcome everybody all the way from South Africa. The class.
Jambo, and good morning. Thank you for the privilege of addressing you today in a beautiful country. The favorite quote of mine, which was put together by a poet who lived 150 years ago, wrote and said, life is divided into two terms, that which was, which is, and which will be. Let us learn from the past to profit by the present, and from the present to live better in the future. This is particularly fitting as we reflect on the 20-year journey of the AU Anti-Corruption Convention, which anniversary provides really an opportunity to reflect on what progress has been made, so we can determine what needs to be done in the future for a corruption-free society. Member states have achieved several successes in advancing anti-corruption efforts across Africa, although we have by no means achieved the goals that we set out. The first success that comes to mind is regional cooperation, which has grown exponentially in the last decade. Member states have engaged in mutual legal assistance, extradition, and information sharing to enhance investigations and prosecutions of cross-border corruption cases. We have also seen development from a legislative reform perspective, with countries adopting and strengthening their anti-corruption laws, and the establishment of specialized anti-corruption institutions to enhance capacity to address corruption effectively. We have seen the sharing of experiences, knowledge, and best practice among member states, leading to the development of stronger anti-corruption frameworks and more effective enforcement mechanisms. One has only to look at the peer learning journey from South Africa to Kenya, arranged on GIZ, which is currently underway, as an example of such cooperation, learning-based initiatives, which do lend themselves to further capacity building. Have we achieved all that we set out to achieve through the convention to eradicate corruption from the African continent? No. But let's remember that the day that we plant the seed is not the day that we eat the fruit. Anti-corruption efforts by their very nature take time. What are some of the key focus areas for the future? And a priority member state need to really strengthen the legal frameworks for whistleblower protection. We quite simply cannot tackle corruption without whistleblowers. They are at the center of it all. And whistleblowers cannot blow the whistle without adequate protection from retaliation. If I have just one message today, that is about the importance of civil society working together and to provide support to our human rights defenders and our investigative journalists. Active involvement of civil society and the public is crucial and anti-corruption efforts. If we look at the South African example of why this is important, we need a relevant Zondo commission, a commission that called past and present state presidents to account. And we will see the change of our entire anti-corruption architecture because of this. This tree grew out of the seeds that were planted by very courageous investigators and civil society organizations. Member states should create enabling environments for citizen participation in monitoring, reporting, and advocating for transparency and accountability. We must work together because we are turning both in South Africa and Italy in our anti-corruption fights. But we cannot continue to separate this, to not work together. Thank you.
Must work. Very good. Well, we cannot entirely manage without whistleblowers. Specifically, whistleblower organization. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Applicants, ladies and gentlemen, please get ready. For the several regions in the world, he began a career with the Organization of Security and Cooperation in Europe, the Baltic States, and he worked in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Finland, and later on as ambassador to the European Union to Thailand. Please welcome Finland Ambassador to Kenya, His Excellency Victor Yola. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome.
It does work. Good morning, my dear friend Shiva, the Executive Director of Transparency International here, Your Excellency, Ambassador Geiger, my dear Mandetta, Honourable Member of Parliament. I'm not sure if I've observed all protocols, but I would say, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I believe that and these are all as I'm very honored to stand before you today to mark the African Anti-Corruption Day 2023. I was thinking, what am I actually doing? Am I celebrating? Am I commemorating? Am I marking? I sort of decided to sort of stop with the idea of marking, because for celebration, I think we still have ways to go. For commemoration, well, we're not actually doing eulogizing past work, but work which is continuing. So let us mark. This occasion indeed holds great significance. We join hands to note the importance of the African Convention on preventing and combating corruption, which Dr. has already mentioned today, back in 2003, and as we reaffirm our commitment to this result. Now, this work is extremely important. I am standing here with the dual identity of the Finnish citizen and Finland citizen of the European Union, and both are founded on the principles of democracy, good governance, and these issues are very important. In the case of my own country, which is still after the Second World War, was a very poor country without anti-corruption steps, without really becoming one of the least corrupt countries in the world, we would not have made it in one of the wealthiest countries in the world as well. The European Union would not have succeeded in bringing peace and prosperity without a set of governance principles which would have been there and which would have brought level playing for European citizens. And then there is security. My country has been named a country which is not necessarily what now respected territorial integrity, which is highly threats throughout its history. Corruption became something, a kind, akin, treason in the mind of many things. So if you do want to work with your neighbors, if you want to build that success, and if you want to build security, and if you want to create glass ceiling from a LDC to a middle income country area, and from a middle income country to a higher income country, anti-corruption needs to be at the heart of the areas. So this is why it's so important that the EU eventually reflects the commitment to that regulations to fight corruption and promote governance as essential elements for sustainable development, growth, and the well-being of your citizens. The convention aims to promote and strengthen measures to prevent, detect, punish, and eradicate corruption. It aligns with initiatives such as the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, while addressing the very specific local challenge you have in your societies. Now, let me pay tribute to our host, Transparency International, because you are actually keeping everybody accountable by providing valuable insights into the state of corruption worldwide. None of us escapes but getting to that, I think, is very, very good. The Corruption Perception Index by Transparency International ranks countries based on those. Now, in 2022, Kenya, our host country, take the score of 30 from 100 in their corruption perception index. Okay, it's just the most global average score of 43, but if you match it with sub-Saharan average, with Saharan average score 32, then you are about there. Kenya is ranked as 123rd out of 180 countries electorals assessed. Now, while this score is low, let me note, I'll talk about that later, it's difficult. There have been really very good steps, and when we listen to the current government, we see that the commitment is there, and this is a commitment which really needs to be followed through. Now, we see that Kenya robust laws and policies on corruption. However, implementation frameworks still need to be operationalized legally as well. Now, to get to why I'm standing here as a Finnish ambassador, well, we work on anti-corruption efforts around the world, not as a separate issue, but very often needs to be well relevant, and that's what they do in Transparency International. For us here, we work to improve women's democratic participation. We work to counter gender-based violence, and as well as strengthen technical and vocational education and increase digital opportunities for young people. With the release of security, these are key. And let me unpack that. On gender, corruption can be disproportionately effective. It limits their access to resources, services, and opportunities. Addressing corruption is crucial for creating a enabling environment where women can fully participate and benefit from the development process. And then you also notice, and I'm thinking of a discussion I once had with Mohammed Yunus, who got the Nobel Peace Prize for empowering women in entrepreneurship in Bangladesh. I asked him once why women, because they give back to society much more than men do. I hate to say that. Now, we're in a country with median age of 90. High levels of youth unemployment create an environment that is susceptible to corruption, while corruption exacerbates history. When corruption thrives, it hampers economic growth, which is the chances of creating sustainable development, employment opportunities. Here again, everybody loses. And then I talked about the external threats from foreign governments corrupting people, but there's an internal threat. Poverty is a result of corruption. Unemployment is a result of corruption. And where are the origins of extremism? Violent extremism? Where are the origins of people feeling desperate? You know, we come to peace. If your societies do not work, they become vulnerable. So gender, youth, and peace are very closely connected. The fight against corruption and the range of actions are needed. You need legal frameworks, you need institutional capacity, and you need to protect, as was mentioned, very important whistleblowers. These are heroes, not villains, even if it's frightening, difficult at times, even in settings of governments which are starting by fighting corruption. They're dying of what the old lady goes downstairs, goes to business, and they go, I want to be tolerant. But these people are heroes, our societies need them. Citizen participation and civil society engagement is important. And Kenya has done a lot since the 2020 Constitution and the beginning of revolution. There are governance systems which recognize the right of them. However, the implementation involved participation systems, public finance management, government, well, it's still not quite there. There's still a way to go. And the engagement of rural persons with disabilities in governance decision making is especially low. As a consequence, many women persons with disabilities. And this is again what we need here, because these are exactly the kind of issues which we are working with Transparency International, getting them to empower marginalized groups, effectively participate in public finance management and decision making processes in Western India with active intervention in Kisumu, Kakamega, CIA, and Boma. This project has empowered citizens through awareness creation and anti-corruption campaigning. It has helped accountability mechanisms in place and strengthen network to support anti-corruption work at the grassroots level that country. Through our support and the wonderful work of Transparency International Kenya, we want to encourage the government to ensure full participation of people in management of public affairs and national and grassroots level. Politics is not about leaders. Politics needs to be about citizens. It needs to be about every single person here. Now, international corruption is essential. We are committed to collaborating with Kenya and other African countries. I'm so glad to see this group here of people from South Africa and Ghana who are working together with lessons learned, and I commend the European Union for this very, very important regional project here. This really counts. Now, as we mark the African anti-corruption here in Kenya, let us really ourselves values of transparency, accountability, and integrity for the sake of our economic development, our peace, our security, and to bring those classes and cities. Asante sana, thank you very much. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Politics should not just be about leaders, but citizens. Ladies and gentlemen. Next. The former director, people outreach from the director of the general for insight compartment is the European where it was responsible for cooperation of development, migration, security, gender equality, human rights, education, and achievement. The Council of Ministers, the United Nations General Secretary, who work in the private sector and civil society. Please welcome European Union Ambassador to Kenya, Her Excellency Henrik Steiger. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Hamjambo, mabibi na mabwana. So, Today, we celebrate 20 years of the African Union Convention on Prevention and Combating Corruption. So we have to see where we stand. I will not repeat what speakers before me have said. We all know corruption is endemic around the world. It robs not only Kenya, but all countries of important benefits and forces people to engage to survive. I was so sad when I saw our statistics of this morning. This is survival. And at one point or another, we are forced to engage in things that we are not wanting to engage in because the systems are set up in a way that we cannot avoid it. And many times corruption is not only a bribe that is offered, but is also a threat. And there it becomes dangerous and it becomes a challenge to the lives, not only livelihoods. So it's a dragon that we have to slay globally. What was not said in my introduction is that in my previous life, my previous job in Brussels, I was also in charge of the fight against corruption of the EU worldwide. And I learned a couple of lessons there, very hard lessons. And what we have tried to do is to have an approach that is robust enough of the EU to adapt to the context locally, but also to have a global impact. This is why we form these sort of networks. So also civil society around the world can connect, share best practices, and help each other to slay the dragon. So I can tell you that the European Union is deeply committed to the fight against corruption. And this is not only a fight outside the EU's borders. This is a fight that we're also fighting within the EU. It is very important to say that because, as I said, corruption is all over. The question is, what is the percentage that is tolerable in a society and where it becomes completely unsustainable and destroys a country. So we also know that the economic impact of corruption is tremendous. We did some studies in the EU. So globally, the negative economic impact is estimated to equal 9 times of official global development assistance. Think about that. 9 times global development assistance. That means if we slay the dragon of corruption, there's no need of any country or any organization to give development assistance because every country would be able to provide amply for its citizens. So this is what we have to keep in mind when we're looking at the fight against corruption, because this is the big price that is hanging there for us. And this is what we're aspiring to do. And we all know that the COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated corruption around the world because big sums were dispersed very quickly. Medical supplies were being dispersed, and a lot has happened that was not accounted for globally. So the EU and its institutions, we have just recently adopted, on the 4th of May, new conclusions reaffirming our commitment to incorporate a very strong anti-corruption perspective in all our international development efforts, in all the programs that we're doing worldwide. And we are adopting a whole of government approach in combating corruption, wherever and wherever it occurs. So, key of the EU's global approach is, of course, our human rights and democracy action plan. Corruption cannot be seen outside of human rights. So, two examples of the EU support for rights holders is this year, Cyprus, strengthening accountability networks among civil society with Transparency International. We have thought up the program specifically to empower civil society across country boundaries. It empowers civil society in 26 countries, including Kenya. And you have to make sure that you use and you leverage your power by uniting and sharing across borders. For duty bearers, we're developing a program with the Open Government Partnership. So this is implementing action plans on transparency and accountability for pilot countries. Kenya is one of them. 34 of our EU delegations in Africa have anti-corruption activities prioritized in their cooperation. And this includes, of course, support to democracy, rule of law, and public financial management. In line with our commitment to a holistic approach, we're developing this new operational guidance on anti-corruption to make us more efficient in our efforts to support national efforts. I will not repeat what has been said, but corruption is one of the costly non-tariff barriers to global trade, especially for low and lower income countries, and one of the main obstacles to the creation of favorable business and investment environments. This, of course, is very pertinent also to Kenya. So as we zoom in on Kenya, it's true, Kenya took strong international commitments to address corruption. But despite all commitments and efforts, we very much are aware that corruption is one of the most important challenges Kenya is facing nowadays. And if we tackle corruption in Kenya, the sky would be the limit. I'm sure that Kenya would skyrocket in its development. So we really have to join forces on this, and everybody has to be aware of the issue. And as my previous speaker, my friend Kirka said, the government made important commitments, but we all know that in a society where corruption affects all levels, action has to be taken at all levels. And of course, if the leaders are seen as engaging, everybody else thinks probably it's also okay. So this is one of the big obstacles. And I know I talked to many Kenyans since I arrived, that in Kenya it was also seen during the colonial period that it was very much okay, actually good to cheat the British colonizers. Yet it was maybe a good thing, but these days are over, and old habits may die hard. but they have to die in order to have something new being born. The government just now announced a new package of legislation and amendments to strengthen its anti-money laundering framework that was last Friday. Notably on enhanced customer due diligence, strengthened reporting obligations, expanded scope and coverage for AML CFT legislation, and increased penalties and deterrents. But we all know laws are there, but they are serving nothing if they're not being properly implemented. And for proper implementation, we need not only first Parliament's endorsement, and we all know their vested interests in Parliament as well, but we need an implementation throughout society. So I will not say much more, but I think for us, what is most important is strengthening the good governance framework in Kenya. We have embarked on the largest justice sector reform program in the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. The EU has invested 70 million euros in justice sector reform. And we feel that we have made lots of progress in the last years. I'm not saying that there are no more challenges in the justice sector, but access to justice without having to bribe is one of the main achievements that we have to obtain here in Kenya. Let me come to the end. We also think that with the devolution process, we have to be careful, because if there is corruption at central levels, we don't want to export corruption to the county levels. We have to make sure that as government services are involved, we also have very strong mechanisms at the county levels to hold county governments accountable for their action or non-action. I was talking about the EU's anti-corruption directive. So this will set the tone for EU's fighting against corruption. We have a network, EU network against corruption, and we have very strong anti-corruption policies and legislations in our member states. Fergal was also alluding to that. But we also have transnational criminal networks that are feeding on corruption activities and networks and finance their other criminal activities like that. So this is something that calls for transnational action of us, all of our actors, government actors, civil society, and actually every citizen. We need a global response. The EU will always stand tall and strong for those who are engaged in the fight against corruption. Why? Because we think that corruption is the strongest impediment to sustainable development in any country. Asante sana.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. We have to see where we stand. Corruption is a drug that we have to stay globally. Leverage our power. If we tackle corruption, Kenya will skyrocket in its development. Ladies and gentlemen, very quickly, want to appreciate the presence of Joshua, Wayne, Clecko, etc. We are for that. We want to Boaz, Waruku, Ramsey Seder, and the New Bora Coalition, for that. Nancy FCTO, example, what happened. And ladies and gentlemen, all the partners, we have key partners about the data hub of Oil, Makofi Transparency International Kenya, APAC, Interreligious Council of Kenya. You look and see people Zalendo, KHRC, Moravia, and this particular event will be supported by the European Union. Makofi for that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. This time, 54 minutes past 10, only 6 minutes to the top of the hour. We are ready for our break, and our tea break will be 30 minutes, starting now. Please take a break. Break will be served at the rounds. Let's go right away. Let's meet here the next 30 minutes. Less than 30 minutes. Please check the timer so that we can accomplish the lunch that we have on the table.